Alright, here's going to be a full breakdown video of the MK96 clone. If you have took your Maru, it might be a little bit different, but this is for, UTG, double eagle version like that. Now, what you're going to need is a 3/16 Allen wrench, preferably not one on a set like this, because you're going to need a little bit longer. So I'd get a longer one as well. And then a smaller screwdriver. Now if you have a bipod on your gun, this will make it a lot easier because then you can just set the body down and don't have to worry about it. First thing you're going to want to do, take the magazine out of the gun, make sure it's unloaded, make sure the safety's off, and then turn the gun over, take your Allen key, and find the small hole just behind the magazine well. Take your Allen key and unscrew this Allen key. Now the screws or the Allens are built into the body, so you don't have to worry about losing them. So just unscrew it for a while until it gets pretty loose, and then move on to the back one, which I'll show you in a sec. Alright, that one's done. Now the reason you're going to need a longer one is because on the back one, it's just behind the trigger right here. So you have to go in through the trigger guard and then down into the gun. And then do the same, unscrew it, it's locked into place, you don't have to worry about it. This whole time you want to make sure you're holding on to the actual barrel and the body of the gun so it doesn't fall off and possibly cause some damage. So once it feels loosened up, turn your gun back over, lift up on the front barrel of the gun, and then just lift out. And that'll remove your barrel assembly from your body assembly. We're not going to be needing this. This is where all the magic happens. Set your body aside. First thing you're going to want to do, your trigger box, you got two screws right here. So you want to take your screwdriver and unscrew those. Make sure you have the right screwdriver too, because if you strip these screws, it might be hard trying to find some new ones. Once the screws are removed, the trigger box won't come out. You have to remove the stopper, which is this piece right here. So then all you have to do, you might have to pull a little bit hard because it is locked into the spring head, but it'll come out easily. Set that aside. And once you do that, this unit should come off. You won't have to worry about any parts flying everywhere. They're all secured. So just take this, set it aside, and then this is where your bolt will come out. So you can take this unit, set it aside to your body, and we'll look at the cylinder first. Now, to get the cylinder off, you can either take your hands and pry it off, or you might need some pliers. As you can see, there's two little holes right there, so you can just take some pliers, unturn this. Actually, I'll just take these real quick. If you have needle nose pliers, you can stick it in those two holes and then twist, or you can take some of these on the actual cylinder head itself and unscrew. Now, the spring's going to be under some tension, so while you're unscrewing this, make sure you have a firm grip on the cylinder head, because once the threads are out, it's going to shoot forward like that. Now, if you have a stronger spring, it's going to stick out a little bit farther. I just have a regular spring in here, so it doesn't stick out that far. Take your cylinder head, set it aside, and you can take out your bolt. Usually the spring will come with it. And then you'll see your spring guide come out. And that's all that's in the bolt right now. So this is perfect if you want to install some upgrade parts. If you want to install a new piston, new spring. To reinstall it, just do the reverse. Always install the spring guide first. Now inside the cylinder, there's a little rod that the spring guide has to go through. So when you put the spring guide in, you might not be able to get it in right away, You just gotta shake it until the rod lines up with the spring guide correctly. There we go, got it. See, it's in there. Then take your spring. Usually you're gonna want to find the side that's not the thinner side, but my spring is the same on each side, so set it into the gun. Oops. Never mind, I guess I did put it in on the wrong side. Shit. You want to make sure it's on the right side because then the spring will bind to the spring guide, which is just what happened right there. So make sure you have the right side, and it should slide in. Take your piston, and then just set it down into the gun. Cylinder head. You're going to want to hold on the back of the bolt, and then push down and twist. Once you get the first couple of threads, it's pretty easy. Now if you're doing this, twisting it back on and you hear a binding noise like the spring, that means you have it on wrong, so just take it apart, look at everything, make sure everything's greased well, and reassemble. There we go. So we have it all tightened down. Now we'll look at the sear trigger box. If you want to disassemble this, you have some screws right here, here, and here. Take those out, and then you have to take out the safety, and it should pop off. It's kind of like a VSR, but it's more boxy and a little bit more solid. All your sears are right here. Now if you're ever having a problem with slam firing where you pull the bolt back and it doesn't lock into place, it just shoots right back forward, it means this sear right here is either broken or is just not running right. This is a full metal trigger box. It's not plastic, it's a full metal body, so I don't have to worry about that problem. It's pretty good quality. I got it on eBike for like 40 bucks, I think. I would highly recommend it if you're getting an L96. But yeah, that's all about the sear set. And then right here, you'll probably never have to worry about this. The odds of this breaking on you are pretty low. It's a nice solid piece of metal. Now when you're reinserting this to the trigger box, you want to make sure this little lip is facing the trigger. It will go in this way, but if you put it in this way, this will break a lot easier and damage your internal cylinder parts. So just make sure it's facing the right way. Now your barrel and your hop up. If you want to access this, there's two different versions that can be on this. There's one version where it's like this, where you have two screws, and there's also one version where there's one Allen key. This version is the two screw version, so just unscrew the two screws, and then you'll be able to untwist your barrel and access your hop-up unit right there. So to reassemble, take your bolt, put it in first. Set it in a down position, and then turn it over. Take your trigger box, make sure the trigger stopper's out, then set it down into the gun. Now you can attach the screws first, but I prefer to attach this. Make sure the lip is facing the trigger. You will have to push it into place. You will feel some resistance, but it will go down. Then take your screws and screw them back into the trigger box. Now if you don't tighten these screws down, the gun will not fire because the sears are not lined up with the cylinder unit correctly. So you're going to want to make sure that these screws are fairly tight. Now if you have a weaker spring in this gun, you can test it without it being attached to the body. So just, you hear a click and it stays back. Everything's working great. Take your body. If you have a bipod, like I said, it helps. Reinstall it. I usually start with the back first, line it up. Then take the front. You'll see the little magazine catch. You just have to push back, and it should slide in. If it doesn't slide in, what you can do is just lift up on the back, and then slide them both in together. Once it's together, turn it around, make sure you're holding them together firmly. Take your Allen key, might help if you, since the Allen keys are built into the main body, take the gun upside down and shake it so you have the Allen keys lined up right. And then simply, I start with the front one. Start screwing the front one in. Now you don't want to screw it in all the way. Once you feel resistance, you're going to want to stop and move to the back one just so you can add them in evenly. Now these Allen keys, you can tighten them as much as you want because they do have a firm stop. So I mean there's a part where you cannot twist it anymore. So just tighten them all the way down. You can't over tighten these. And there you go. Gun's put back together. You can test it. Locks back into place. Safety works. You're good to go.